coach. What do you do? Did you just about tell me you're a coach and you lead with your resume? Coach, please. I'm Dan.
And I'm on Salute, and I can't believe it is season 3, episode 2 of Coach Please. We've made it to the spring, Dan.
Yes, we have. Yes, we have. All the
Oh,
new things are bursting with
yes,
excitement.
yes. And where I live, I mean, as we are recording this today, it's actually March, but it is snowing. Where I live, we've had a very, very long winter with lots of snow. But I'm happy to see that spring is coming. It's
Yeah.
hope.
And yeah, surprisingly, my lemon and lime trees are just bursting with buds right now. So should have a wonderful citrus crop at the in October when they're actually ready.
Oh, I like that. I love lemon and limes. That's so nice. So, I always love to come to you with a story during our
Mm-hmm.
podcasts. And today we're talking
That's okay.
about
My clients come with stories too all the time.
today we're talking about when coaches start with a resume. So I do this part-time coaching gig that's a contract gig outside of my private clients. And we were having a meeting, and it actually ended up being a very casual meeting. Usually there's 60 plus coaches, but for whatever reason, on this call, there was only 3 coaches on this call and the employer. And, the scene was, hey, check in. Tell us a little bit how long you've been with our company and, how are you enjoying it? What's your experience here like? And so 2 of us kind of casually just mention it. Again, this was not a professional setting, casual setting. And then the final coach, the third coach, uh, came in full on resume. I am a master certified coach with ICF. I have 20 years in the industry. I've got this certification and this training, and I've got this and I've got this. Oh, and my brother is this, which makes me an expert in the people we're coaching because I even have more information and background and knowledge. Went on and on. And so as I sat there, I thought to myself, well, everybody else here is credentialed with ICF. Nobody talked about it. Okay. We all here have 20 plus years in different, very corporate, high-end industries, but okay. So it was a bit of a turnoff for me. It kind of came out of nowhere. I was kind of not judging it, but I was just like, okay, well, we're just as credentialed, we're just as. I mean, no, I'm not an MCC yet, but working my way there. But 20 plus years in the industry. So anyway, later it turns out that in one of the PowerPoint presentations, they're piloting uh, a coach's coach in this company. So coaches can have a coach to go to. And she was one of those people. And so then it dawned on me, oh, I guess maybe there was this moment where if I'm going to be your coach, I need to show you why I'm credentialed to be your coach. So it may not have been ego or insecurity, but positioning. It just made me think about how do coaches really want to lead in a room? And is that how you want to lead?
Mm-hmm. And everything you just shared there reminds me of a twist on an old joke in the scuba diving industry that had to deal with course directors, which is the highest designation within PADI, the Professional Association of Dive Instructors. And it's like 3 coaches walk into a bar. How do you know which one is the MCC? They'll be sure to tell you. Like, why do we go there? And I hear both sides of it. There's I'm the person coming into a role and now creating the validation that they think they need to do to say I'm here to serve the others because I've reached the pinnacle. And then there's the other side of it of when we lead with resume, what are we actually trying to validate in ourselves that the other person doesn't give a crap about?
Yeah, I mean, most people aren't evaluating your qualifications. They're deciding if they enjoy talking with you. And because of that
Mhm.
experience, I have no desire to reach out to this person for support because I didn't enjoy that conversation because it was all about what I've done, who I am, and all of these things I have to offer. And again, I can understand maybe that was coming from an insecure place or an ego place. Like, who knows? I can't assume where that came from. I'm just sharing my experience when I finished that call and that conversation. It almost made me feel like I don't, because I didn't mention my credentials or that I had 20 plus years in the industry. I probably am older than that person. Um, like, well, it just, the whole thing kind of felt weird and it made me feel off. And it makes me think about, I get it, coaching doesn't have a license. Credentialing is the only form that says, hey, this shows that I'm credentialed and accredited. And I do understand that. And those things are important. I don't want to dismiss that credentials and experience aren't important. And unfortunately, sometimes we do have to lead with the resume. But when you're in a casual, I think you've got to read the room, right? If you're in a casual setting, when it's just your peers, it's kind of like saying, hey, I'm a doctor, but I'm sitting in the same room with five other doctors just as educated as me or more so. Would I really be showing up the same way? Like, we're assuming we're all specialists in that room. If we're all been hired to be coaches to do the same thing together, wouldn't we assume that we are all on that same level? And again, the only thing I can go back to is, oh, I think she was trying to position why I'm the coach to be the coach's coach. Probably was what that was about. Um, it also just makes
And
me think that, a resume is information, but presence is connection.
yeah, and the only thing that jumps up there as maybe it's just a sidebar on it all, and this is also something that particularly corporations can learn from, because the later part of that presentation was the announcement of the coach's coach, was that person told, here's where you present. And so they're now put in a position to come forward with resume because that's what the organization wants. Because don't we all know that corporations love credentials? They love social proof. They love all this stuff. And so here's going to be your place to do the advertisement. But then, just like you said, that takes them out of connection because they're now presenting for the organization. And that's exactly what we don't want to be doing as human beings. And in these roles, you show up, we all will show up more when we don't talk about what we've done and we don't talk about what we've achieved unless somebody directly asks and we only give them what's relevant to that conversation. Otherwise, all we're doing is the resume equivalent of unsolicited advice. Nobody asked. Don't go there. What are you trying to validate to the room that no one asked for, that's actually your stuff that you're dropping in the room? That's not
Yeah.
something I want to step in.
Yeah, the moment you stop trying to prove you're credible is usually the moment you start believing you are.
Mhm.
And I'm not going to say names, but there are many very famous, very well-known motivational speakers who don't have a coaching background. They don't have credentials, and they're being followed. Their books are being read. They're famous. They're making lots of money. And this
I'm okay.
person,
I'm okay to name names because
but
they're
well,
one
well,
of two that ends in the name Robbins.
the point is that that person that I sat with in that room was more credentialed and had more experience than some of these famous motivational speakers.
Mhm,
But that isn't the point, right? It's
mhm.
it's people rarely remember the credentials, but they remember how you made them feel when you spoke to them, how you talked to them, how you
Yeah.
showed up in your own presence.
Mhm.
All I can remember from that whole experience is how I felt afterwards, and it was not a good feeling. And it was also confusion. And so it just leads me to think about, as coaches are trying to become more credentialed and have more training, and I'm just as guilty. I want all of those credentials. I want all of those trainings too. How do we decide to show up in a room? And do we want to start with our resume, or how else could we start?
That's a really good question. And maybe we start with not the what I do, but who I am. what calls you to do the work? What are you passionate about in the work? What do you see in people who work with you? And it's not a what have you gained to get there? And I want to make it super clear here. We are not in any shape and form dismissing credentialing. There's a process that changes in how you listen as you go up that chain. And it took me all those hours to learn to listen at that level, but I don't lead with I'm an MCC. I don't even lead with I'm a coach because nobody cares. Just like when I,
That's it. Like nobody cares unless you are a famous person. Honestly, nobody even cares who you are. Nobody cares about you. You know what they care about? They care about what you do for somebody else or what you're going to do for
mm-hmm,
me. And I mean, I hate to say that, but that's the truth. I sit through so many courses and it's like, let me tell you who I am before I teach you what I'm going to teach you. And it's like, I don't really care about you. Like I don't care
mm-hmm.
about who you are unless I followed you and I know who you are and I know a bit of a story. Usually we're sitting there going, how can you help me? What can you do for me? And I'm not saying that's how you start, but maybe we go into conversations with this is how I help other people, or this is who I'm passionate about helping, versus let me tell you all about myself. If they're
Yeah.
interested, they're going to ask you about you, but it may take you showing interest in them before they come back and have interest in, hey, so what is your background?
And I'm chunking this way down because now I'm being reminded of what Sam, the guy who runs the scuba diving shop that I used to teach at in Kansas City, he had a phrase, I don't sell the steak, I sell the sizzle. And Sam was masterful at creating demand and desire. And if I chunk that idea way, way down to what we're talking about here, think about if you meet someone, just meet somebody out in the world, like, hi, what do you do? And they say, oh, I'm a driver for Uber Eats. Versus, what do you do? I deliver dinner to people so they don't have to get out of their house. Which
Wow.
one are you going to engage with and learn more?
Yeah. I mean, now I really want to talk to you.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wait,
And
I don't have to leave my house and you're going to bring me whatever food I want. This is awesome.
but now I want to know, wow, that must be really fulfilling. It's kind of like I read once many years ago, and it's probably changed, but one of the best jobs you could ever have was to deliver flowers because you're in customer service, but who's ever going to answer the door and be angry at you? I mean, you're delivering flowers to this person. Like, what a great job. You get to see their face and their expression and this beautiful arrangement. And so, yeah, when the Uber driver says, I deliver food for people, it's like, how happy they must be. I mean, what's that feeling like to go drop off this amazing meal? Hopefully they get it right and everything's supposed to be in the meal, but like how amazing is that experience? And that's what I would want to ask now. That opens up another entirely different conversation than just I'm a driver for Uber Eats. Oh, great. Now what?
Yeah. And think about that for us as coaches. What do you do? What's the thing you, no pun intended, what's the thing you deliver? Because that's all anybody cares about.
Well, right now it seems to be resumes for some of us.
Well, even those go through what is it, the ATS system and get read now before a human ever sees them. So all the ATS system cares about is what are the keywords that are relevant to this role. You better be there.
And you know what? Not to, I'm not trying to shame anybody here, or it was my experience that I wanted to be pointing out. But it does make me think about, I have been fully guilty
Mm-hmm.
of starting with a resume, especially in insecure moments when I know that I'm not the doctor in the room or I'm not this in the room. I feel like I have to justify that I am. And that could have been that person's situation in my experience that I had. But what I will say is, as a coach, if we are trying to show up human to human and have these human to human experiences that are authentic and real in session, maybe we think about how do we want to do that when we're not in session? How do the easiest thing to do is lead with our resume, to lead with our credentials, right? To hide behind all the things we've done, all of our acknowledgments, all of our accolades. What would it look like if we didn't? I think that that's the challenge. And how could you get comfortable with that? Especially for the coaches that do chronically get those different credentials. How do you find Oh my gosh, it's almost like if that's what defines you, what else could define you other than these credentials and diplomas and PhDs and MDs?
Yeah.
Who do you
What,
become now without that?
oh, and even who are you with it? How has that changed? And it's not about the collection of the toys. It's about what's the growth that's come from it by you having learned these things. How's that opened up? And that's the delivery. It's not about I have
Yeah.
this certain, that certain, the other cert. It's like, how's it changed you?
And
We
that should
just
be
did an
showing up.
article on that. Yeah, we just did an
Yeah,
article on that.
did. And that is who should be showing up in the room. Not the
Yeah.
woman who got the 20 credentials, but who is the woman now that she has those 20 different credentials?
Yeah.
Yeah. Ah, good one. All right, guys.
All right, mic drop.
We'll see you in the next episode.